was another way. Was it maybe not Google Slides?
Probably was one. Yeah, try it.
Because I,
Maybe.
yeah.
I don't know enough to try it.
Let me make my face.
Has a lot of heat.
Yes.
Shabbat Shalom. This is very low. So good to be with you all. We have visual to feel up. No need for a prayer book tonight.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Zeitchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei
What a beautiful day it's been. My day began with Jax this morning and at the mikveh. So we had a wonderful, wonderful morning. And then Jax came and had his Beit Din, and we had our service. So I don't know. I think y'all should kind of hang out with Jax a little bit as we now take this opportunity to welcome Jax into the Jewish community officially as a Jew. Invite the congregation to please rise. Jax, come on up. O God, grant your loving favor to Jax, as in this holy place we welcome them into Jewish life. Knowing well the history of our martyrdom in years past, Jax has chosen to join themselves to our people's faith. We open our hearts to them, strengthen Jax in their resolve, help them to live in fidelity to the decision they have made and to the promise they are about to utter again. May they always find satisfaction and joy in the fulfillment of your sacred mitzvot. Grant them many years of strength and happiness as a worthy member of our congregation and the people Israel. We praise you, O God, in whose presence is the fullness of joy. It's for you.
Of my own free will, I choose to enter the eternal covenant between God and the people of Israel and to become a Jew. I accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religious faiths and practices. Under all circumstances, I will be loyal to the Jewish people and to Judaism. I promise to establish a Jewish home and to participate actively in the life of the synagogue and of the Jewish community. I commit myself to the pursuit of Torah and Jewish knowledge.
Jax, you stand before the open ark and before the commanding presence of the Torah, the Jewish people's most treasured possession. It has led us on the way and guided us ever since we received it at Sinai. It has been carried during the times of our greatest rejoicing and when we fled from burning synagogues and villages. I now place the Torah in your arms. If I can get it in your arms without Take it to your heart as you now recite the Shema, the words on the lip of the Jew until the moment of death, the affirmation that has sustained the Jewish people in life since our beginnings.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
So as I always say, Jax, this is now your Torah. You become part of its legacy, but I'm going to keep it in here for you.
Okay.
Jax, we are also honored to give to you your Hebrew name, Yehoshua Ari Bi Avraham V'Sara. What a beautiful name, Yehoshua. Of course, your given name is Joshua, so it makes sense. So I love that connection. But Ari is this beautiful, beautiful name. I love it so much. I have some Aris in my family. We have some Aris in the synagogue. It's a great name. And yet it has that lion element to it, which is, I think, one of the great animals on the planet in so many ways. I guess there's some lion qualities about you as well. You have a hell of a roar, and you are also very compassionate too and loving. And I have to tell you, working with you this past year plus has been absolutely wonderful. You are such a mensch, such a good person, and we love you here at Temple Emanu-El. It is our great honor now to bless you. Invite the congregation to lift their hands as they join us in blessing you.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and may God keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's radiance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
And may God always be a source of strength, wholeness, completeness, and peace in your life, Jax, as we all say together. Amen.
Mazal tov.
Please be seated, but Jax will not be seated because his first act as a Jew shall be lighting the candles. I'm sorry, I thought that was exciting. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Make sure I have the right slide up. We're good to go.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generation of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של Shabbat.
And now that we welcome Jax into our community, now we also have the chance to welcome each other. So I invite you to welcome the person next to you, maybe wave at someone you don't know. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Good job, Jax.
לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. נריה, נריה לצור אישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Bizmirot Naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru l'Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru l'Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Shiru Adonai Baruchu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai 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 lai 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 lai. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad, Ushmo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Hi mekor ha'beracha merosh mikedem, Nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נקרא, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
We continue now with Chatzi Kaddish. I'm not going to tell you the page number, even if you asked me.
Luckily, they're on the slides if you
There
need
they
them.
are. That's right.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי המיה,
Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה
Brichu.
בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בימה ואמרו אמן.
We continue with our Baruch Hu. I invite you to please rise if you're able, either physically or in spirit. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים, מסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, כולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום מביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. page one. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just do this. There you go. Let's take a deep breath in.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please, please be seated. And there's no Vehafta on the
Sorry about
Cantor left it out, she
Oh,
just said.
no.
That's okay, you all know it.
Join with me as you can.
Yeah.
Page
154.
Et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu advarim haele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We join together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Ain't that the truth?
פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu l'shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu l'shalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu l'shalom. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash.
We now continue with the central portion of our worship with our tefillah. I invite you to please rise if you're able to, either physically or in spirit.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avoteinu, ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, Morid hata הישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Please join me. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bi'irah na'avod. Modim anachnu lach, shatahu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha na'eh lehodot. Invite us to take another deep breath in. Exhale out. This week's Parashah Ba'alotecha talks about lots of blessings and curses. Where are you at with those blessings and curses right now? Well, I hope all of us can focus on the blessings right now. We so easily can focus on the curses because there seems to be so many of them. But on this silent reflection moment, I hope that we're going to take this time to reflect on the many blessings that surround our lives, the blessing of family and community, of loved ones, of like-minded people, and there are those people. We pause in silent reflection.
ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We now take this opportunity to focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Sally Emerendez, Chana Bat Miriam, Eliana Bat Chana, Bob Bell, Robert Berg, Mort Berlant, Dr. Arnold Berliner, Sandy Beinstock, Barry Brown, Rich Burns, Dr. Ed Kahn, Chu Chi, Talia Sorowski, Jay Cohen, Deanna Courtwright, Bunny Fisher, Carolyn Franklin, Bruce Frambach, Holly Fugit, Marcia Gieser, Marina Gaffney, Sharon Jenkin, Charlene Griffin, Ted Guglin, Olivia Hand, Linda Harris, Dr. Gary Height, Jesse Jessen, Jennifer Johnson, Mimi Jones, Rosie Gurman, Janie Kaup, Melissa Katz, Evelyn Katz McCosker, Mark Kusanovich, Deborah Lanning, Shirley Lerner, Carol Lesage, Litia Leos, Rita Lauren, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Janice Lucero, Gerald Maddox, Ariana Madison, Harlan Madison, Stephen Morceri, Neil McElwee, Vivian Cooper Moore, Gunther Myberg, Barbara Wanamaker Neiman, Brad Parkins, Gabrielle Pollock, Stephanie Rasmussen, Linda Rogers, Gordon Robinson, Laura Danoff Robinson, Devon Ross, Gary Sanders, Laura Sanders, Malachi Sorensen, Donna Shine, JoJo Silver, Harrison Silverman and their baby, Eileen Sweet, Donna Thyman, Pham Tai Trang, Gina Thrower, Kara Thayer, Steve Umecki, Irma Guzman Wagner, Teresa Walsh, Jeannie Watson, Marty Weisberg, Nancy Weisenfeld, Kevin Wilburn, Bridget Wilson, Sue Witten, Sherman Wong, Yaakov Ben Ada, Brandon Yarkin, and everyone who is suffering from coronavirus. If you wish to add another name to our healing list, I invite you to raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone else? We wish upon all those, one more, Oliver. Thank you. We wish upon all those you mentioned and everyone who remains unnamed a refuah shlema as we join together in the Shabbat.
ישברך אבותינו, אברהם, שרה ובניהם, הוא יברך וירפא את כל החולים. הקדוש ברוך הוא נברך רחמים עליהם, וישלח לכם רפואה שלמה. רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, בתוך שאר חולי ישראל. השתה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. ונאמר אמן.
Well, it's an Ask the Rabbi night, which Kenner's never been at one. We haven't done this before COVID. So hopefully you have some questions. If not, I know Brandon will have a question. I'll put this here so that you can talk into the mic. We can hear you. If you don't want to come to the mic, you can just raise your hand too. Okay, let's go. Questions? That's a great question. So you see those 5 sculptures up there? Let's take a look on the left-hand side. See that big thing? Looks like a shofar on the left side, all the way over there. So for shofar, that would have to be Rosh Hashanah. So that symbolizes Rosh Hashanah. The second one, you see Yud He Vav He on the top, the Tetragrammaton. That's one of the names of God in our tradition. When do we recite that? Traditionally, the Kohen would do that on Yom Kippur. So Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and the middle one, well, it looks like what to you? What do you think the middle one is? Shake, 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 shake. Sukkot, right? Exactly, Sukkot. And that's the first of the Shalosh Regalim, the 3 pilgrimage festivals that we have up there. So the middle one, Sukkot. Second from the right, 4 cups, Pesach. You'll see all the way to the right looks like the Theophany at Mount Sinai, and that would be Shavuot. So we have the Shalosh Regalim, the 3 pilgrimage festivals, and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur there. Good question, Ray. That's a really good question. Yeah, beat that one. She did know about the Tetragrammaton, yes, she did. Wow, that's it? There we go. Uh-oh, be careful what you ask for, right? Oh, no. My philosopher student. Great.
Oh, I don't think I can quite follow up from the last question, but this has been bothering me all day.
Cool. Oh, good.
So I was reading this week's Parsha, and at Leviticus 27:29, you know, there's the verse, if a human being has been consecrated or someone's been consecrated from humans, they can't be redeemed. And all the commentators I found on that, Rashi, Ben Ezra, seem to place it in the context of capital punishment. But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me in the context of the rest of the chapter, which is about setting things aside in a holy way and consecrating fields and animals. And I know Dostoevsky and Camus and later writers say there's something holy about the condemned person, but I don't know, something's not squaring up for me, so I thought I would just... You made the mistake of putting an open mic here. So.
Nice. So what do you think's going on, Jess?
I mean, what I keep coming back to, and it might be in the wrong direction, is you have these weird moments. Well, weird moments not the right thing. You have these moments earlier in the Torah, like don't pass your children through the fire. You have the Akedah. You have these moments where human beings seem like they're being set aside in one way or another. You could even look at something that's going to happen in the next book with Miriam and leprosy. You have all these moments where humans are singled out, but in pretty much every case, they are redeemed. So I legitimately just don't know what's going on here.
I think there's a lot here. You and I can actually sit and I can show you the commentary I've went on there that I think would be helpful. So I think inherently when we talk about this section of the Torah, we're in the midst of the Holiness Code. In fact, this is the end of the Holiness Code. So what they're doing is they're getting every little bit they can in before it's over. And the Holiness Code is in the book of Leviticus. It's one of the oldest sections of Torah. And in that really comes all this tremendous amounts of laws. Like I said, this portion has blessings and curses like there's no end. But I think the struggle that you're having is a good struggle to have actually on some level. And that is, where's the place of humanity in Torah? So as a Reformed Jew, I have no problem saying, well, this is more evidence that humanity wrote this. Because if a deity really wrote this, that issue you have wouldn't be occurring, in my opinion. There'd be no need for that. So this is what happens when humanity writes it, and when there's a political reason that things are being written. So the question is, what was happening historically during that time for that to be written? What's going on there? And that's what you and I will talk about.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah, cool. We love studying together, Jess and I. Cool. Any other questions? Matt, very good. Matt's one of our students who was, is it going to Berkeley? So he's hanging out with us tonight. Actually, that is a new Ner Talmid. The original Ner Talmid we had there comes from our original building on San Antonio and 3rd Street. And it's going to be in there. We're putting it into the chapel. So our chapel, which has the original stained glass windows from that site, will also have the Ner Talmid. And then we'll put a picture of the actual building in the very front when you enter. So the chapel is going to be an homage to Bikur Cholim, our original site. Yeah. What do you think about it? It's cool, isn't it? In Erev Talmid? Yeah. very modern. So the other thing that's happening, we've redone everything here, Matt, except for one thing, and that's the menorahs, which those are going. We have them made in the chapel in a box. We're waiting for them to come out. And they're going to be attached to the walls there. So you'll see a new menorah maybe next time you're here. Yeah. Cool. No. Well, at this point, I'm done with those lights. Yeah. The menorah is a really important symbol. It's one of our oldest symbols, and it comes from Torah. But those particular menorahs, I'm done with them, personally. I know they've been here forever, but I'm just done. Done with the way they look, everything. I'm not a real brassy guy, usually. It has to be kind of nice. I'm sure those were nice many years ago. Yes, Nance. I don't know if I can answer that one for you. I think there are people that are online, and some people are still very leery of it, but it's an across-the-board issue that we're seeing in synagogues and churches and mosques. And it's unfortunate, because I think our spiritual life has taken a huge hit these last 2 years, and we need to really work on that, all of us. So it's unfortunate. I don't think so. We make our choices, and I think that one thing we are looking at is how do we excite things a little bit? How do we change it up? So I'll tell you now, since you're all here, no one knows, not even the canon knows this yet, but in the fall, I'm going to once a month be having an open discussion with a colleague in the community, an interfaith leader. So you're going to start meeting my people that I've been working with, and we're going to do that once a month. Probably the second Friday of the month. We'll do a short service, and there'll be a conversation in the Temple House between the two clergy people talking about stuff. So I'm hoping that's going to help generate some excitement for people. There's some other things we're going to try to do because I think it's important to excite people too. This is the issue. So often it's hard for us to get up and do something, but once we're there doing it, we feel great. It's the getting up and doing the thing for a lot of us that's the hard thing. So how do you make that happen? Do you want to use the mic so we can hear you? Well, you can't make everyone happy. I think if you try to make everyone happy, you're in trouble. I think what you got to do is have integrity and do what you think is right, and to hit as many different types of learners as there are, and prayers types of people, right? So there should be all kinds of opportunities, and that's what we do. So I think with Ritual Committee, we try to do a variety of things, standard stuff that's traditional, to Shabbat in nature, which is absolutely not traditional. But I think it's really about experimentation, trying things out too, which we're good at here. We like doing that. But I think there's also that sense of you want stability, and you want to just come on a Friday and to know that what I'm going to hear I've heard before, and it's comforting to me. And that's okay too. So we mix it up. If you notice with my holiday sermons, I don't do the same ones for the holidays. I try to do different ones to appeal to different people, because I think it is important to have one that's a little more heady versus one that's more spiritual, that kind of stuff. And I think services need to be that way as well. But I also wonder about services in general. I'm not so sure services are exactly what people need spiritually all the time, that we may need to think a little bit out of the box in terms of what we do liturgically. We'll be talking more about that too over this year. I really appreciate the conversation though. Yes?
Last question. For Lag BaOmer, we don't generally make a big deal out of it in our congregation. Is that specifically a Reform thing, or is that just an Emanu-El thing? Lag BaOmer is in the middle of counting the Omer between after Passover ends, or after the first day of Passover up into Shavuot, and it is the day when you get a little bit of reprieve from the mournfulness.
That's right. In fact, there's a tradition that you can't do any life cycle events during that time, or positive life cycle events. You don't have a choice about death. Wish we did. And so the only thing on the Lag BaOmer, it's a really wild day, because in Israel, that's the day where 3-year-olds get their hair cut. So one doesn't cut their hair until they're 3, traditionally. All the weddings are done at that day, because it's the one time you could do it within a 49, 50-day period. And I think for us, we talk about what's Shabbat services. If we can't get Shabbat services going, then one has to look at the rest of our kind of holiday structure. So I'll tell you that in the Reform movement, it's hit and miss at times. I think that Lag BaOmer, which is a very minor festival, I mean very minor, is really one that is based on agrarian life. So like when I lived in Jerusalem, I don't know if you had this experience, when I was in Jerusalem, and if you go to any park on Lag BaOmer, there were bonfires happening. And I remember I participated in them. It was really cool. There also were fires on the day before Pesach so that you could burn your last of your chametz, which I participated in, which was really cool too. But Lag BaOmer is a huge thing in Israel. But it's a picnic. It's picnics, it's a celebration, it's going to the beach, it's the weddings, it's that kind of stuff. So it's not a deeply spiritual thing, but it's more of a social thing, actually. It's one of the rare holidays that's actually very social for us. That's now that I think about it. But in the Reform movement, we have to kind of look at what's major and what's minor. And sadly, even though Chanukah and Purim are viewed as minor in our tradition, for Reform Jews, they're major. So, we do that stuff as well as Rosh Hashanah, and obviously high holidays. But I think it's sad because there are really neat things in our cycle during the year that we just don't do a lot of. I think when I first came to synagogue, we did Tisha B'Av quite often. And Tisha B'Av happens in the summer. It's a day that we commemorate the destructions of the first and second temple and other calamities and such. And I think it's really a day for grieving all of our losses of people. So I think it's a very powerful thing. But in the Reform movement, it's not practiced that much. So it's interesting. Something maybe to think about. I think when Lag BaOmer's on a weekend, we've done something. I think 1 year with religious school, but we don't do it very often.
We talked about it. It's about nature.
Yeah, that's right.
We couldn't burn anything.
No, you can't burn in California anything in the parks. That's right. Actually, you can't burn anything in your houses either, for that matter. Well, thank you all. Very nice. And I think Jessica's now going to come and do announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Jessica Blitjock, and on behalf of Temple Emanu-El's Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to welcome you to our Erev Shabbat service. After the service, we invite you to join us for Kiddush and Hamotzi in the Temple House. Today's Oneg is sponsored by Jack's McElravy in celebration of their completing the process of becoming Jewish. Mazel tov, Jack's. Tomorrow is National River Cleanup Day, and you're invited to join one of our Havarot, the Mensch Bunch, and our green team in cleaning up Guadalupe River. Please sign up online to receive the waiver and instructions. Sunday morning, our Musar Torah study group meets virtually at 10 a.m. All are welcome to participate. Also Sunday morning is Sisterhood's donor brunch honoring Bev Mendel as Woman of Valor, and Joy Powell will receive the Lee Axelrad Malich Award. Tuesday at noon, please join the rabbi for his weekly chat on Zoom. On Wednesday, Rabbi will hold his Lunch and Learn Torah study at noon. He'd love for you to come in person, however, it will be on Zoom as well. Next Friday, Memorial Day weekend, our Kabbalat Shabbat service will be streamed at 6:30 p.m. For those who know more about Jewish worship, in order to participate more and even lead, we're starting a new adult B'nai Mitzvah cohort. Let Iris in the main office know if you're interested. And if anyone has any questions about the Adult B'nai Mitzvah program, I'm happy to answer them. I did it in 2018, and it was an amazing experience for me, so I'd love to talk to you about it if you're interested. For those of you who love to read, we have 2 virtual book clubs. The Nonfiction Book Club next meets on June 5th to discuss Operation Thunderbolt by Saul David, and the Sefer Club next meets on July 10th to discuss An Unorthodox Match. So you still have time to read these and join in on the discussion. We are also in need of Friday volunteers. If you'd like to help with, I don't know what pattering means. If you'd like to help with pattering for Oneg, preparing maybe? Plating. If you'd like to help with plating for Oneg around noonish, or checking in and greeting for services about 15 to 20 minutes before and after service starts, please let Iris know that too. You can call or email admin@templesanjose.org. And this is my little hot tip for Shabbat services. If you're here and Nancy Gersten is here, I advise you to sit next to her because she has the most amazing voice and she sings the most beautiful harmonies. So I'm sitting here listening to the cantor and Nancy, and it's so beautiful. So that's my hot tip for Shabbat services. Shabbat Shalom.
Aunt Nancy, I tell you. I know Cheryl wishes she was with you. We continue with Elaine. I invite you to please rise if you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula li'otzer breshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim hima'al, u'shchinatu zo begovhei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We now come to the moment in our service we think about members of our family and our community who've died recently and in years past. I invite you, upon hearing the name of your loved one, if you choose to stand as a sign of love and grief for that person, and to remain standing until all the names on our yahrzeit list have been recited. Then together we'll all rise. On this Shabbat, we are mindful of those that are grieving, the Shiva, the first week of mourning for Bobby Lebo, beloved mother of Susie Hausman, mother-in-law of Michael Hausman, grandmother of Oliver Hausman, great-grandmother of Mila Hausman. We also think of the Shana, the first-year mourning for James Atlas, Michael Barco, Henry Barsky, Brenda Bausch, David Berg, Carol Bitter, Denise Blue, Robert Blisma, Phyllis Birdman, Richard Berriesi, Esther Burton, Curtis Cage, Mary Cage, Ruth Kahn, Eldon Chernus, Alexander Cunningham, Norman Deshotsky, Rhoda Edwards, Carol Everett, Mervyn Feinstein, Alan Garshon, Lubov Katsis, Richard Gersten, Cirilo Guerra, Estella Guerra, former president of our congregation Phil Hammer, Judy Fisher Harrington, Laura Jacobson, Deborah Katzman, Bernie Levine, Miriam Mickey Present Looper, Barry Miller, Richard Peterson, Len Pomerantz, Gladys Popolo, Colin Powell, Corinne Ravel-Retchen, Joe Russo, Jane Sargent, Rosalind Schwartz, Arnold Schaffritz, William Shepard, Marilyn Siller, Jerry Turchin, Leanne Wanamaker, Reuben Morgan, Rabbi Marty S. Wiener, Lucy Young, Laura Ziffer. We also think of the following yahrzeits on this Shabbat: for Irving Altman, Gertrude Altman, Francis Atlas, Claire Basist, Marcus Joel Bernstein, Bernie Bernstein, Juliet Roy Bloom, Max Boxer, Hirsch Engelman, Frida Ida Engelman, Marilyn Feinstein, Jacob Feldman, Lena Feldman, Judy Foxman, George I. Frank, Abraham Friedman, W.C. Grammer, Herman Greenberg, Rebecca Greenberg, Samuel Kahn, Craig Carnall, Martin Kirschenbaum, Ina Korek, Abe Lerner, Louis Levine, Morton Levin, Carl McClure, Michael Meltzer, John Meyer, Evelyn Popkin, Nathan Pollock, Burton Rubenstein, Zenda Rutansky, Alfreda Schmick, Max Schwabe, Gilbert Senegagalia, Albert I. Silver, Max Siemens, Charlene Weinstein, Mildred Wolfson, Joseph Waron, Laura May Zollers. Zichronam Livracha, May all the memories of our loved ones endure as blessings as we now all rise to recite together our mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba, ve'alma divra chirutei v'amlech malachutei, v'chayechon av yomechon, v'chayet achol Beit Yisrael, b'agalav uzman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'alam olmei alamaya, yitbarach v'gishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu, le'alam min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'elma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlomo rabba meshamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'akol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom mimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'akol Yisrael, tevel, v'imru, amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all of humanity, as we say, amen.
Amen.
Please be seated.
We'll conclude with those very same words of peace.
Oh, say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru,
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, and we'll see you in the Temple house. Annie would love to do it. We just have to ask her.